Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the Journey Podcast. What we have here is two special guests, Cam and Jess, actually really good friends of mine now. They joined the PTBI program late last year, and their lives have completely changed since then. They recently just moved to San Diego, and they've merged their coaching businesses together to create something really, really special. And I want them to share what that special opportunity is because I've seen nothing like it, and I think it's really cool. And I'm also just interested, so I'm going to be asking a ton of questions about what their special offer has in store. So Cam and Jess, I would love for you guys to give a quick little intro. You guys can go ahead and take it away from here.
Yes. Do you go first? Yeah. Okay. So the whole reason I personally got into mindset in general is because I've dealt with a generalized anxiety disorder since I was 7, went through a couple different depressive episodes, was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And so since reaching those lowest of lows, I realized, the law of polarity, there has to be something on the other end. I wanted to reach the highest of highs. And so through kind of the whole process of realizing that I can dictate what kind of life I want, I was able to figure out certain exercises, practices, tactics to really help me build stepping stones from the lowest of lows up to the highest of highs.
Awesome.
And so that's my approach to our program.
That's so deep. And then for me, I guess I really got into mindset work after I was in freshman year of high school. I have traumatic brain damage, and after that experience, I really learned how much mind over matter really affects everything, and just kind of started to see as my brain was rewiring itself to get me back to being healthy, I realized how much what I was basically putting into my brain was also affecting that. So just the power of my own mind. And I started to really tap into that. Again, in college, as I got into my fitness journey, got super unhealthy with my fitness journey, and then realized that I needed to just become my healthiest and happiest self. And that was going to come from within. So I also started finding practices, reading books, looking to mentors to just figure out how I could, like she said, dictate my entire life and create something super sick.
Amazing. So why don't you guys tell me, and this was going on, you guys didn't know each other at the time. You guys were both on your own mindset journey independently, right?
Yeah.
So what is the mindset movement? What did you guys create, and what is this opportunity all about?
So the mindset movement came about actually at Zach's retreat back in June, and we were listening to Melissa and Lexi talk about their merge. And I was sitting there journaling about ways that I wanted to implement stuff for my clients. And I wrote down mindset moments, and she looked over at me and she thought it said mindset movement. And she was like, we're merging. That's our brand. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
It was totally on accident.
Yeah, it was. And basically our approaches to fitness coaching forever was our biggest focus was kind of on mindset and intuition and doing things for the mind, body, and soul. And I mean, as you saw us creating our businesses, you were like, what the heck, these are the same thing. And it just kind of made sense for us to merge and create something that we were able to help people become, we say, their healthiest, happiest, and most authentic self. So diving into how they can also create an incredible future and just an incredible mindset to live in.
Awesome. So what are the ins and outs? Who is this program for? What problem do you guys help people overcome? What's the who, what, when, where, how, and why of the mindset movement?
Yeah. So we've still continued with our lifestyle coaching, but we really pivoted a little bit and started to focus on a new sort of clientele, fitness coaches, right? So obviously being fitness coaches ourselves, we realized that your mindset fucking dictates a lot of shit going on, right? And especially with a lot of stuff on your plate, it's hard to take care of yourself when you're so hyper focused on your clients. And so we figured that since we haven't really seen anything out there to help coaches focus on themselves while simultaneously focusing on others, we figured we would build something out to do that. Yeah. And so the mindset movement coaching for coaches really focuses on instilling the best and most authentic version of you by dissecting what is holding you back, whether it's limiting beliefs, whether it's childhood trauma, whether it's experiences that your parents have kind of taught through you,
Your ego.
you're literally everything.
Yeah.
We dig through the deep in order to bring out the light that's in there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And through this, we're also, because we have so many worksheets built out, so many like rituals, journal ideas, all of that cool stuff, to where we're also helping coaches be able to teach this to their clients as well. Because we've noticed that as you start to shift your mindset, creating that positivity, like the mental gains come and then the physical gains follow. So being able to take what they've learned and be able to help their clients just level up even more.
Awesome. So you guys primarily target fitness coaches to help them become their most elite selves. And I will say, I see that all the time where coaches will join PTBI, and, you know, there's a little bit of mindset work that kind of needs to be in place. So what have you guys seen like the biggest limiting beliefs that you've seen a lot of like coaches kind of come to you guys with?
I feel like a lot of it's a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of that, and a lot of just confidence of like, this is what I do, like I'm good at this. A lot of people are kind of like, wow, people are actually coming to me for this advice. But yeah, the imposter syndrome one's probably the biggest one. And then also just people being curious about, like, they've never done inner healing, they've never done any of that. It's just creating that self-awareness.
I love it. I love it. And then, so what, like, why do you think it's important for coaches to do that inner healing?
The saying we love the fucking most is you can't pour from an empty cup. Right?
Okay.
So if you don't have yours filled up at the beginning of every single day, you're going to be drained as hell by the end of the day. And you're not going to be able to put your best foot forward and be the best coach and person possible, right? So
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, do you guys work exclusively with fitness coaches? Do you guys work with fitness clients as well? How does that work?
So right now, a lot of the like initial mindset coaching clients we're taking on are coaches, but we also have a few girls that are coming on that have done coaching, that are even working with other coaches. So it's a little bit of both, but our biggest focus right now is definitely with the other like fitness or wellness coaches.
Awesome. So then how does the program work? Like, someone were to sign up to work with you, you said you have worksheets. Like, what does it all entail? What are the main focuses, and what's the end goal that you're trying to get these coaches to?
Yeah. So basically we have a 12-week program that looks super similar to what like one-on-one coaching, like the typical model kind of is. And what we're doing is dividing it basically into 3 phases of examining kind of where you are, unlearning, and then reprogramming. So each of those is like kind of a month little journey, and we're doing like weekly check-ins, and we're each doing video call check-ins so that you can actually get a lot of value out of it. And then also like the normal like doc check-ins. And we're offering different, basically like homework assignments each week of different journal prompts, like I said, worksheets, and then eventually even putting little podcasts that go along with each week for them to be able to listen to us give even more info on whatever the topic may be.
I love it. I love it. What are some of the most favorite exercises that you guys do personally that you also program for your clients?
Ooh, my favorite is gratitude. If anyone listening to this knows anything about like the metaphysical world or vibrational frequencies, you know that everything in of itself vibrates, right? Everything has its own frequency. If you were to put it under a microscope, you would see little waves, little wavelengths. And so gratitude is one of the highest vibrational frequencies or wavelengths out there. So the more you emit those frequencies, the more they in turn come back, right? It's a boomerang effect. And so that's one of my favorite exercises to implement. A lot of the clients have seen a lot of progress from it because their life has begun to focus on all the positivity and all the opportunity and light that's around them instead of the fucking darkness.
My favorite is definitely working through limiting beliefs. I grew up like being such a little worrier. I was always like, oh my God, but what if this happens? Like all of that stuff. So being able to recognize limiting beliefs and then create positive affirmations that counteract those beliefs that you can rewire your brain to accept. She definitely like looks a lot more at, like she said, like the metaphysical world. And I think that like the way that our brain actually works is super freaking cool. Like neuroplasticity is that bitch. And with limiting beliefs, I always have them do an exercise that I think I talk about it on my story like twice a week, of writing down those limiting beliefs every single day, like what they are. And then on one side of the paper and on the other side of the paper, writing down positive affirmations that you can rewire your brain to replace those limiting beliefs with. So things that have like a much more growth minded approach, things that like you want to be, that future self that you want to step into. And that as you start to think those, your brain just immediately gravitates towards that and starts to even just silence that limiting, mean voice in your head.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you guys both come from your own mindset journey. You guys said that you guys were both like in very dark places. What was the initial inspiration that even showed you like, oh, I can actually change my mind? Like, did you see somebody do something? Did somebody have a hard conversation with you? Like, at what point were you like, oh, I can actually fix this? I want to hear it from both of you guys.
So I think the big thing that really initiated my realization was honestly the beginning of last summer. Honestly, the time I met you, Zach. I listened to The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I listened to it. It was my first audiobook ever. And he really went into the power of like being present, being grounded, and a lot of just mindset realizations that everything we experience in this world is just a direct representation of how we feel about ourselves. And just kind of listening to that book made me realize, you know, if my reaction dictates my external world, then how I feel about myself and what kind of thoughts I experience, I can manipulate those to completely transform my external world as well. So I think it was honestly reading. Reading is a underrated tactic that a lot of people seem to overlook.
Yeah. Damn. Mine kind of started, like I said, in high school. My parents are really into like mindset work, which I think is like very, very rare for a lot of people. That like my mom would teach me like mindset work, mindset shifting work, speaking to yourself with like self-gratitude and love. But I always just kind of was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then once I was a junior in college was when I really got into it, because I realized that I was like just down. I had an eating disorder. I was not great. And I was like, every single aspect of my life right now needs to change. And what kind of started it was going to study abroad by myself and being in Italy for like 6 months with no one that I actually knew. And while I was there, I just focused on reconnecting with myself and understanding that I needed to like feel comfortable in my body, needed to feel like gratitude towards myself to then just kind of start growing. That next summer was when I started journaling a ton and really figuring out what positive affirmations were. But the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, really, yeah, it's right there. Actually, all of them that did it are back here. The Power of Positive Thinking, and was probably the first one. And then listening to like podcasts from the Mindset Mentor was another one. I started to be like, I can change literally everything. Like my brain is super powerful. And I think for me, I like gave myself a like monthly task last July that I was going to journal every morning for 10 minutes. And I would sit down every day and my journaling would be like, I love myself. Today is a great day. I know what I'm doing with my future. And now as I write things, it's like super intuitive and deep. And like, I've been journaling every day since that day in July that I was like, figure your shit out, Jess. So yeah, mine definitely not as like grounding as yours, but I think it's because I was like raised with like some of those like, go outside and put your feet in the sand. If you're in a bad mood, it'll make you feel better. So it was just like taking the personal responsibility to actually start shifting my mindset. And then as I started coaching, I realized like oh, I really need to like actually be confident and stand in my power and like have that voice. So it's just been a nice slow and steady journey of all of it.
Yeah, I always, for me, it was fitness. For me, like I was down bad as well, but like I didn't know that I had a mindset problem. I thought the answer for me was to build my body. And then once I built my body, I was still like, I'm still like left empty handed. And I was like, oh, okay, the mindset stuff actually comes, it's part of it. So people think like they need to go the fitness route when in reality, they need to do both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cam, or Jess, were you about to say something?
I was gonna say that's like the biggest thing that I've seen like the shifts in my clients when they finally like accept the mindset work and are like, okay, yeah, I actually want to learn this part. All of a sudden within like 3 to 5 weeks, they're like, I feel great, my progress is great. Like I'm just showing up and like feeling confident. And I'm like, yeah, like it's a few easy steps.
Mhm. Cam, I have a question for you. You said that, you know, your external reality is a reflection with how you feel. What does that mean to you?
So, like I kind of touched upon before, like the metaphysical realm and the vibrational frequencies and stuff like that, how you attract what you are. And so, I don't know how to put this in like simplest terms without going in depth on like the metaphysical realm. But essentially, you get back what you put out there, right? And how you interpret everyone else is a direct reflection of how you feel internally. How you react is up to you. You can't control what happens outside, but you're in control of your reaction directly. And I think a lot of people seem to overlook that, considering your reaction dictates pretty much the rest of your day. And I think that's something really important to look at. So yeah, everything really stems from your internal world, because we're all in our own fucking movies, right? So we're all our own main characters. And how we take in the random shit outside starts from the main character, starts from our movie, starts from the film production inside, right? And so that's kind of how it all interrelates.
Yeah. And that like going off of that too, like how we're all our own main character, you're also fully able to choose which thoughts you actually even hold on to. That's been probably like one of the biggest things that I've learned through like my whole mindset journey is like thoughts are like just floating through our minds like clouds float through the sky all day. You get to choose which ones you like actually look at and pay attention to. And we often like choose those negative ones that like 0.2 seconds of our day that like really pissed you off. But like if you start choosing like to focus on like those thoughts or those clouds that like, I mean, you walk outside and you see a cloud that like looks like an animal and like that makes you happy. Like choose the thoughts that feel like that in your head, and you start to like just notice like a better outlook on everything because you're choosing the thoughts that are actually that better outlook. So then your outside world starts to reflect that
what
just
you're choosing.
Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite thought patterns that I have begun to choose that has served me is the thought that nothing done to me is intentional and not to take anything personal.
Yeah.
If someone does me wrong, that is 100% their thing. And I do not take that. I do not internalize that. I don't like let myself question myself. I don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Like no one's doing me any harm. They just don't care enough to like,
That's on them.
yeah, exactly. That's 100% on them. And I think that mindset work in and of itself is first off being introduced that there are other thought patterns, that your thought pattern isn't the only thought pattern that you are stuck with, that you are like that there's options to choose from. So first and foremost, being introduced to those options. And then the second thing is actually picking and choosing which ones you want, and then like reprogramming your mind to let those things stick.
Yeah.
I personally have a belief that most people who are the most successful in life are usually coming from the opposite end of the spectrum because they're compromising for something, right? So you guys are one of the most positive people I know. Like it's because you've done so much work on it, because you were probably on the deep end of the opposite side of the spectrum. So do you guys still have bad days? Like, do you guys still, are you guys still on your own mindset journey? Or are you guys like mastered it and perfected it, or is there ever like, is it ever like perfected?
There's never a stopping point.
Yeah.
You know, life is about continuous growth in every realm possible. And if there's a finish line, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do fucking after that? Nothing, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I feel like everyone has those days that like you wake up and you're just like, okay, I'm going to cry for the next few hours, which I mean is also super healthy because like, as you have a mindset journey and like you're gaining positivity, that doesn't mean that like those negative, sad, down emotions don't come. Like it's still good to feel those. That makes us human. And the important thing is just to like feel those emotions and then have the tools to be able to like be like, okay, this experience happened, this affected me, I felt it, onward. And just like take it as like a learning experience, a growth experience, or like understanding like grief, all of that stuff. So yeah, there's still those. I mean, I think I cry like twice a week. I mean, is it always bad? No. Is it usually bad? No. But just like emotional release of any way comes out in different forms. But the mindset tools to like be like, all right, let's go write some affirmations and then get our shit back.
Yeah, it's almost as if like you now have a valve in which you're able to control those emotional releases on command. Like you're able to utilize it for your own benefit. Be like, all right, I can use a cry now, so I'm gonna turn that on, but then you can turn it off when you're ready. Like you're not just totally at the whim of your emotions throughout the day.
Yeah. Which is like kind of like a superpower in a way of like, because I mean, we do a lot of journal prompts that like, I mean, we did one the other night that was like a big release one of just like, let's release all of these feelings, attachments, whatever that like we need to get rid of. And like, that is an emotional dump. But then you can like physically see those emotions or those feelings or those thoughts go away. And then it's like, all right, well, now that's gone physically and emotionally, onward.
I love it. We're about to wrap up here, but one thing I want to do is give the people something that they can walk away with tangibly. So I know you guys have a pretty extensive morning routine. You guys do your affirmations. What does that entail? And like, how does it work? So anybody who's listening to this podcast episode, they can go out and do it tomorrow effectively. Like break it down for us.
Yeah. So I always start my day by not going on my phone right away because I don't want to put someone else's thoughts into my mind before I pour into myself. And I start my day with some positive affirmations. And when I tell people to like start writing positive affirmations, I say like write down the things that like you would love for like a loved one to tell you every morning, like things that are going to like bring you joy, and just tell it to yourself. Things that make you feel empowered, strong, or like words that are going to get you through that day successfully. Yeah.
I like that.
I think starting by taking it one piece at a time.
Yeah.
So you don't feel overwhelmed. We love to jump in the deep end fast as fuck and you're going to drown. So focusing on starting one thing and then breaking it down, focusing on building it up. I honestly think it'll depend on exactly what you're working through and working on. Personally, I think the easiest thing is to just focus on what you're grateful for. Yeah. If nothing comes to you, focus on what you love, right? Love, gratitude, joy is the highest vibrational frequency possible that will attract anything you could ever want in this lifetime. So start with just 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. Write them down. Take the metaphysical world, put it into the 3-dimensional world, and make it stick. Yeah. Right? So just start with 3 to 5 things you love or that you're grateful for.
I love it. Awesome. Where can the people find you?
On the gram.
Hustle with Jess.
And Coach Cam 2.0.
And then the mindset movement _
Yes.
Awesome. Any final words you want to leave the people about the mindset movement, about what you guys are building and creating? Anything that you guys want to leave?
Mindset controls everything, baby.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.